Hello Desert Bearhawk fans. We are back in the shop with another video, another how-to, another aha, another 10 minutes of your life you won't get back. Today I'm going to show you how we make the blanks so we can form parts. And today we're working on this part right here. This is the nose rib, this is the flap nose rib for the flaps. And I don't have a flap aft section here, but I've got this. And the long and the short of it is this is a full-size back rib right here. The flap's going to use the same rib profile, but it's obviously not going to be as big as the back rib. It's going to be about, well, we can actually set this up here, and it's going to be about so big. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a spar right here. This rib will be on the nose of it. The remainder of this rib here will be on the back of it, and that will give us our flap structure. So right now we're making these nose ribs for the flap right here, and we got to make 26 of them. So that means we have to duplicate our effort over and over again. So first thing we need to do is we needed to make the master template block, which is this guy right here. And I'm showing it right side up, upside down, I'm not sure. But either way, this is the master template, and what I did is I photocopied my plans. So you can see these are actually a photocopy of the plans, and I very carefully cut them out to the line. And I glued them down to a piece of MDF, and then I trimmed them and made my master form block, out of which I made all the remaining form blocks, including the two that we use to manufacture the blanks, which is what you see here. This is a blank, and I'm off camera. There we go. There's a blank right there, and you can see that the blank doesn't really look like the part we're wanting to make, but that's because the blank has got additional material on it for the flanges. These flanges right here, that's all this material right here. So, I've been through this a couple of times now. You should be starting to get the gist of it. So with this, we made these, which is just this on top of that, and then a 1/2-inch flange all the way around. Then we cut out the little reliefs here for the bends. These are all for the bends, so we can bend it, and it's all relieved. It can bend and not kink up, and you can see the relief holes right here all the way around. Here's one. And I should have shot some video on how I did that, but if anybody wants to know how I did it, it's I can make another one real quick and show you. But basically, I drilled a 1/4-inch hole here and here and here and here and here, and then I just band sawed it close, and then used my vertical belt sander to clean them up. So make 2 of those, and then what we do is we take a blank, a rib blank. That's this little gnarled up, looks like heck piece of aluminum, and it gets sandwiched in between there like that with some bolts, and we take it to the router table. So the router table is where we're going to head next, and we're going to show you how we router these off so we get 26 identical pieces just like that. Here we go. Okay, here we are at the router table. Now we're going to trim up the block that we showed you earlier. And Jake's going to work it through the laminate trimmer. This is the bit right here. It's got a pilot bearing on top that follows along this edge, and it will cut this aluminum to match this block. So we're going to go ahead and turn all the equipment on, and we are going to attempt to router this out. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, he was able to work that around fairly easily around the table there. So just a couple of things. When you're working with a router, for God's sakes, wear your safety glasses. And the second thing you need to remember is this guy right here, sharp, spinning really fast, remove fingers, remove skin. Very important to respect this bit. And as you can see here, and this is, I don't know if it's going to show up right or not. On my monitor it's showing written backwards, but this says feed with an arrow pointing. And that's the direction you feed the material because the bit is rotating against the feed. So the bit's turning this way and you feed it this way. And the reason you do that is that if you try to feed it in this way rather than cutting the aluminum, it's just going to grab on, or the wood or whatever you're doing, it's just going to grab onto it and it's going to shuck this thing out of here and make all kinds of racket and you're going to look stupid. So make sure you follow, you know which way you're supposed to feed your material. Keep your fingers out of the bit and wear your safety glasses. Okay, we're back on the bench and Jake is routed all the way around. So let's see what we get when we take this apart. It'll be an interesting deal. Let's widen up a little bit so we're not so sketchy on the camera. Widen up and there we go. So I just picked two places, arbitrary places, in this to put tooling holes. I kind of looked at the plans and realized there's nothing going to be there. So I just kind of picked two arbitrary places and made my tooling holes. When you do yours, there's no specific spot to put your tooling holes in, so don't be sweating that for 5 hours trying to figure out where they're supposed to go. Just pick a spot where you're not going to interfere with anything. So we take it apart like so, and now we've got our rib blanks. And there they are. There's 3 of them he just cut out. They're identical to each other. And these are identical to the ones we made before, and they'll be identical to the ones that we are going to make moving forward. So it's a good technique. You use it for every type of rib you make, whether it's a nose rib, a back rib, a center rib, a flap rib. You can use it for other things too. If you need to duplicate multiple parts. One other application for guys who aren't building a full-scale airplane, if you're building a model airplane and you got a wing rib, a wing that uses a constant chord rib, or even if you have different size ribs, you're always going to have at least 2 of the same ones, one for each left and right wing panel. So all you have to do is, and of course if you're just making 2 ribs, it would seem kind of tedious to go through this whole process. But if you're making a straight chord wing, say you're building a Cub with a straight chord wing, or a model of an RV4 with a straight wing, you can make airfoil shaped blocks just like this, and then just take your balsa wood and put your 2 tooling holes in it, and you could stack 8 or 10 of these up on there, clamp your other one and run them through that router, and I'll guarantee you'll have 100 ribs that are exactly the same. So it's a good technique for duplicating parts, and it makes the cuts go easy. I know guys have cut these out with snips, and you can do that. If you don't have a router, you can do that. Problem with cutting with snips is, as you know, here's a blank. It usually curls up the edge a little bit and leaves it a little gnarly. But with this bad boy, they're perfectly straight like they were stamped out of a machine. So if you don't have a router and you're building a scratch-built Bearhawk or full-size airplane, I highly recommend you skip a couple lunches at Taco Bell and go buy yourself a router, because you will use the snot out of it, and you'll wonder how you ever got along without it. They'll try to sell you a router table too when you're there at your woodworker's place. You don't need to buy that. You can use just a sheet of this MDF, put a hole in it, mount your router up from the bottom, and voila, you have a router table with a nice surface to work on. So that's how we make nose rib blanks, using the spiral cut 1/4 inch tool on the router table. I hope this was helpful, and if you got anything out of it, that's good, and if you didn't, or you're entertained, that's good too. And if you have questions or comments, make sure you comment below. And until next time, we'll see you in the shop.